because we are not there when they talk about to a person, to a manager or an employee that is extremely unhappy, that's on the verge of suicide.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this video. I have with me Batty LaRue, and Batty, I want to unpack your newer understanding regarding vision. And you said you have a few new revelations or a different understanding regarding vision when it comes to vision and how it brings transformation.
Yes, thank you. We will be talking about coaching and mentoring, and we will talk about leadership and management, and in the same talk about strategic thinking and strategic planning and vision. Now, my personal view is that I think that strategic planning, the way we've always done it, of which SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, has always been a cornerstone on which you build your future thinking. And I'm passionate about the concept of creating a vision beyond where we're at the moment. And it sounds stupid. It sounds, how can I talk about a vision? How can I talk about going somewhere as an individual or as an organization if I don't know where I'm at? The problem is, honestly, a lot of organizations don't even know where they're at. They can have a dream about a future state, but they don't even know where they make their money and where they lose their money. So when we go about the strategic thinking, and traditionally, when the guys do that, they think it's sitting around the boardroom, grounded, not only in their chair, but in the department or the area of their expertise, that they are expected to add value to an organization. So the engineer does a certain thing, the financial guy does HR, commercial, financial, as marketing has got a role. And there sits an individual that's in charge of that, let's call it domain. And everybody expects them to be on top of the game. And let's give them the support. Most of the time they are on top of the game. Their game. That's my problem. Their game. How and where does it fit into the organization? So how does it add value, not for the greater good of the organization, but for where the company can go, not should go? Because if I ask somebody where you should go, I've got an idea from where they should go in terms of where they come from. And that's not, when I talk about vision, that's not where I'm at. When I started talking about this, and as a matter of interest, Ivan, in 2020, to this day, I was on stage for my first international talk.
Yes.
And the subject that I spoke about was vision with imagination. And I've expanded, studied, read about that subject more and more and more. So it's interesting, 3 years later. And I'm still passionate about it, because I do believe that if I have a clear vision of where I'm going or the organization is going, that will pull me into the future. But traditional strategic thinking, and it could be a controversial statement, so be it. Then I'm controversial when I come to that. Strategic thinking is, I'm thinking and I'm talking and I'm planning, and I'm limited, as I say, by being grounded and to the horizon. And we would talk a little bit about beyondership also in one of these clips today. But that's the problem. If we need to have control over our future, then it's exactly there. Because I can see the future, in terms of I can see the horizon, I can see what's in between here, and I can imagine accordingly. So what is my view? My view is from here. So if I can change your mindset and say, okay, imagine you're an eagle. What is your view then? What is a limiting factor of your vision? If I can put you and say, now you're an eagle. And when I first spoke about this, I say to people, I want to elevate you into space, even a little bit higher than the thousands of meters that the eagle can fly, because we all know that an eagle is the bird that can fly the highest. So if I elevate you into space and you see the globe, the world here, and then you see your continent, and then you see your country, and then you see your province or your state, and then you go down to your town, your city or your town or your suburb, and then down to your organization. Can you just see in your mind's eye how big is the world now? How big is the opportunities that comes from there? And if you listen, they're actually screaming to you, take me, take me. But you know, we are comfortable with strategic planning. We go through the steps, and the CEO, the manager, or maybe the HR manager with a mandate takes control and he scribes. So whoever's got an idea and a concept, put it on board. And if somebody doesn't like it, they shoot it down, or the manager say, what did you mean? Blue, light blue, dark blue, just a darker shade of green. And all of a sudden, your idea and your concept gets, before it even reach the board, gets molded in something else, and you sit there and saying, why should I? And we talk about vision now from an organizational perspective. That is really my problem. Because you can't say to me that when I talk about the operations of the company, that the HR manager, as an example, has nothing to contribute. Because what do they know about machines and manufacture? Logistics and supply and all those kind. What do they know? They're looking after people. And our minds is, HR is important, because that's the guy that makes certain I get salary in the month. So at the end of the day, there's a label on his forehead, HR manager. That's what he's responsible for, to make certain we've got salaries paid at the end of the month. And people are happy. Happy because they've got money. There's a lot of other elements that the HR is responsible for. But the fact of the matter, and the reality behind this, is that HR manager gets to talk to people that's unhappy in the organization. Things that happen that is not right. They fire people, they hire people. They understand more about the emotions of the people and the reason why people are not happy and why they're not effective, why productivity is down. They understand that because they understand through which the company becomes successful, which is the people. In other words, the human capital, not the human resource. So we need to include them in our strategic planning. Not when they're grounded, because then we ask them a direct question about people. How many IT specialists we've got? How many programmers? How many cleaners do we have? And we ask those kind of statistics, data. We don't expect them to add value in terms of what the data tell them. Because we are not there when they talk about to a person, to a manager or an employee that is extremely unhappy, that's on the verge of suicide. We don't ask that question. And so when we elevate them into space, or when the eagle flies up there, there's no sacred grounds there. Nothing is sacrosanct. Everyone can add value as they think and have experienced it. Bring it to the table. Because the HR manager can have phenomenal contributions to make. Not expected just from the marketing manager or from the production floor. So in doing that, we have a much more holistic approach to answering where the company is going. Because I need the input of how the people feel. Because I need to motivate them into this direction. Because if I define an effective vision that everybody buys into, As they say, you wake them up 2 o'clock in the morning and you ask them that they can relate that. If they bought into it and they feel part of it, it's easy. Otherwise they work for salary. And that's what we don't want. So if you want to be effective in your organization, create that vision. And when I started dabbling into this, I obviously Wikipedia, Googled, and went and said, what's the definition of a vision? Couldn't really find one. The only ones that was in print, came to me back in my search, was when they reflected on the Bible and the disciples and prophets that got a vision from God that they need to do something. And we understand that. You know, so we must go a bit further than that to find what truly is a vision. And I'm saying a vision is an imagined reflection of your perceived future. Imagined reflection of your perceived future. Because if I can perceive it, I can do it. You know the story, how do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. And people say to me, now we've created this imagined, unrealistic future for the organization, this vision. How are we going to achieve it? And so let's break it up in little chunks. Can you do this? Yeah. Can you do this? Yes. This? Yes. This? Yeah. This. All of a sudden, it is not that impossible, because it's actually in our back of our minds, and when we comply our minds and apply our minds, then we come up with this vision for the organization, for your life too. Same principle. And the moment the guys do that, they look at their future completely different. And like I said, there's two sayings I'm saying. If you have that clearly defined vision, I promise you, your future that vision will pull you in your future. Because why, if I've got that clear idea and concept and a vision of my future, why do I have to wait to get there? Why don't I just go and live there right now? Why should I wait? I mean, it doesn't make sense. But when we push the organization to the future, as we know, if I push the car, I better have somebody behind the steering wheel. Otherwise, we've got no idea where this car's going, because I can't see. But if I'm there in the future, I pull my organization to me, I'm in full control.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have a question that you want to give our audience that they can respond to?
My question to you is, how do you create your vision for the organization? Do you start off with checklists of where we're at? In other words, where we're grounded? Or are we putting that aside and look at a clear new view for us? And I want to challenge you to just try that once. Push it aside. Put your dreams in the sky and start looking at the organization from a total different perspective. And apply everyone in your organization and the whole thinking environment to contribute. And you'll be superly surprised what you come up with. Because if you do it effectively, as a last statement, you'll become the competition, and you don't have to compare yourself and compete with others. You will become the competition because you're already living the future. They're still in the present.